Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again in the third lecture of the course Introduction to Literature. And today we will deal with the narrative poetry and we will discuss some of the important terms of poetry. And also, then we will discuss one of the beautiful and amazing sonnets, which is Sonnet 75 of Omerity Edmund Spenser. So let us start. So, narrative poetry. What is narrative poetry? Narrative poetry is type of poetry that gives verbal representation and verse of sequence of connected events. It propels characters through a plot and it's always told by a narrator. So narrative poems might tell a story, and this just coming from the name, its name, that narrative poetry, الشعر القصصي أو الشعر السردي. So it tell a story, or it could be a story told in verse. It includes the story elements, plot, characters, and setting, and it could be subdivided into subcategories of narrative poetry, and they are epic, mock epic, or pulp. So let us see the uh, next one. The first type of the narrative poetry is the epics, الملاحم أو القصائد الملحمية. So what is epic? Epics usually operate on a large scale, both in length and topic. So they are long and they are working in a large scale in both the length and topic. And they tend to use an alleviated style of language, and supernatural beings take part in the action. And we mean by supernatural beings, though, the ghosts and the witches and other things that are supernatural. The oldest epic recognized is the epic of Gilgamesh. ملحمة جلجامش هي أقدم ملحمة التاريخ 2200 BC 2200 قبل الميلاد, which was recorded in an ancient Sumer during the New Sumerian Empire. The poem details the exploits of Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk. We have other examples of epics, like the Virgil's Aeneid uh, and Milton's Paradise Lost. The second type of the narrative poetry is the mock epic, الملحمة الوهمية. The mock epic, الملحمة الوهمية. Mock epic makes use of epic conventions. يستفاد أو يمتاز بنفس صفات الملحمة الحقيقية, like the elevated style and the assumption that the topics is of great importance. وأيضا يعتقد المشاهد أو القارئ هذا أن الموضوع مهم, but it deals completely with a trivial subject. لكن موضوع الملحمة هنا هو موضوع بشكل كبير, هو موضوع تافه. A famous example of mock epic is Pope's The Rape of the Lock. And here, which tells the story of a young beauty whose suitor secretly cuts off a lock of her hair. The third type is the ballad. Ballad is a song originally transmitted orally, which tells a story It's an important form of folk poetry, which was adapted for literary uses from the 16th century onwards. And we can translate it as الشعر أو الأغنية الشعبية for example the ballad الأغنية الشعبية أو قصيدة الأغنية الشعبية. So we have some important terms that are related to poetry, which is we cannot understand the poetry unless we study them. And the first one is the rhyme. The rhyme. Al-Qafi. Al-Qafi. Rhyme is the repetition of similar sounding words occurring at the end of lines in poems or songs. هو تكرار للصوت الأخير في البيت الشعر. And here you see, look at this example. I will see here. I do not like green eggs and ham. So here we have the sound M. I do not like them, Sam. I am. Here we have also M. I do not like them in a boat. Okay. I do not like them with a goat. You see T, T. I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. So C and C. So, in just naming or giving or in recognizing the rhyme, the uh, those people interested in poetry just giving the rhyme the letters alphabet. For example, here, so this is the first one. The first sound M will be given the A, and then since it is the same, it will be given the same letter. And when it is just uh, replaced by another one, it will be since we have one new one B, and if it's repeated B. If we have a new one, it will be C and repeated C. And if we have, for example, another line which is uh, and here this sound will be changed, will be D, and then etc. etc. This one, this scheme is called what? The rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme is the pattern of sounds that repeats at the end of line or stanza, and it's called the rhyme scheme. So the second uh, term is meter, الوزن, الوزن الشعر. Meter is the measured arrangement of accents and syllables in poetry. In any kind of utterances, we stress certain syllables and not others. The third one is the rhythm, الإيقاع الشعر, الإيقاع الشعر. Rhythm is a series of alternations of build up and release, movement and counter movement tending towards regularity but complicated by content variations and local inflections. And then we have stanza, stanza, stanza. Stanza is a number of lines, usually two, four, or more, have fixed length, meter, and rhyme scheme, forming a division of a poem. Stanza in poetry is similar to paragraphs in the prose, and it has many types. So here the stanza is part of the poem. الستانزا هي جزء من القصيدة، وهذا الجزء قد يكون متكون من بيتين أو من 3 أبيات أو 4 أبيات أو أكثر، واعتمادا على عدد الأبيات ستكون هناك أنواع من الستانزا. The most important types، أهم تقريبا نوعين من أنواع الستانزا is the first one is the quatrain، الستانزا الرباعية. Stanza or short poem containing 4 lines. So you see here, oh, my love, like a red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love, like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. You see here, we have four lines. And here you see the rhyme scheme according to what the sound at the end. So rose, A. June, a new one, B. E, melody, new one, C. Tune, since it's we have here June and tune, so it will be B. This is the quatrain, And also we have here the couplet. The couplet. The couplets, المقطع الثنائي, a pair of rhyming verse lines. مقطع شعري مكون من بيتين لهما نفس القافية. So here, for example, here in the which of if you with patient ears attend, what here I shall miss or toil shall strive to mend. So you see here, tend, mend. They have the same rhyme. So how we can how do we can analyze a poem? We have steps of analyzing poetry. The first step here, we have to look at the title, and then we have to look to the form. What form of it is? Sonnet, it is epic, it is ballad, it is mock epic. Okay, so what kind of form of that poem? Then the shape. So, for example, how many stanzas are there in the poem? This is the first step. Step number two, we need to read the poem aloud in our mind. So we read it maybe more than one time. For example, two times, three times. And then step number three, we need to think about the voice, who the speaker is. So who is the speaker inside the poem? Is he the poet himself or somebody else? Step number four, we need to think about the subject of the poem and the setting. So the subject, what's the poem is about, and then the setting of the poem. So and here the setting, by the setting we mean that the time and the place. Step number five, look at the words used, identify the repetition, think about the themes. So then we look at the words and the repetition, the words repeated inside the poem, the sounds repeated inside the poem. Number six, we need to look at the rhyme and rhythm of the poem. And we know now what is rhythm and what is rhyme. Step number seven, we need to identify poetic devices, so like similes and metaphors, allusion, and others. Step number eight, we need to identify the imagery. Is there any imagery inside the poem or used in the poem? And what kind of imagery is it? Okay, auditory, olfactory, or visual, for example. Step number nine, we need to think about the mood of the poem. The mood, is it positive or negative? When we read the poem, what kind of impression we will take, whether it is positive or negative. Excuse me. And step number nine, we need to consider the message of the poem. How does it make you feel? So what kind of message inside this poem? So in analyzing any poem, we need to take or consider these steps one by one, and then we can understand the poem. So uh, now let us apply, okay, or take these steps into consideration in analyzing the following poem, which is Amority, Sonnet 75 by Edmund Spenser. First of all, we need to know information about the biography of the poets, the biography of the حياة الشاعر, which is very important because uh, it gives us uh, some information that could be useful in understanding the poem itself. So let us see here Edmund Spenser. Who is Edmund Spenser? This is his picture here. Edmund Spenser was born in 1952. So by just having information about uh, the poet's age and the poet's year uh, of his poem, for example. So we can know information about to what age this poem and this uh, poet belongs to. من خلال معرفتنا لحياة الشاعر تعطينا معلومات أولا عن ما هو العصر الذي تنتمي له القصيدة وينتمي له الشاعر، وهذا شيء مهم جدا. So Spencer was an English subject during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. He was sent to Ireland an official mission, and there he met and wooed Elizabeth Boyle, a young woman from the important English family who was probably half of his age. His year-long suit to win her hand in marriage is recorded with a deal of poetic license in Spenser's Immortal, and he died in 1590. كان أحد الرعايا الملكة إليزابيث الأولى، وتم إرساله كمبعوث رسمي إلى أيرلندا، وهناك التقى بفتاة تصغره يعني تقريبا بنصف عمره اللي هي إليزابيث بويل، وحاول لمدة سنة كاملة أن يخطبها، وكتب لها العديد من القصائد السونيتات. وثق بها حبه إلى أن وصل إلى مرحلة قبلت بالزواج به، وبعد ذلك تزوجها. ووثق هذه العلاقة عن طريق مجموعة من السونيتات اسمها الأوموريتي، والسونيتا هي نمبر 75. They are an 89، هم 89 سونيتا. السونيتا اللي ندرسها الآن هي سونيتا رقم 75. He died in 1599. So let us see. Sonnet 75, Edmund Spenser. One day I wrote her name upon the strand, but came the waves and washed away. So you see here, the first strand, the first rhyme is A. Then away, we give it the second one B. Again, I wrote it with a second hand. So since we are here, we have repetition, so it will take the same sound. But came the tide and made my pains spray. Also repeated, so B, B, B. Pray, wait. Vain man, said she, that dost in vain essay, B, B, B. Immortal things so to immortalize. So we have a new sound, Z sound. So it will be C. For I myself shall lie to this decay. So A, so B. And if my name be wiped out likewise. C. Not so could I, but let baser things devise. See, to die in dust, but you shall live by fame. D. So here we have what? We have a new sound. So fame. My verse, your virtue rare shall eternize. C. And in the heaven write your glorious name. So D. Where when us death shall all the world subdue. So we have a new uh, sound. So here, G, our love shall live and later live renew, and G. All of these, we can just call it the rhyme scheme, نسق القافية. And you can see here, you can look at the poem first, that we have 4 stanzas. Here we have stanza number 1, stanza number 2, stanza number 3, and stanza number 4. And it consists of 3 quatrains and 1 couplet. So what kind of poem we have here? I need your answer in the next lecture about that. So uh, we'll see next that we will explain and analyze the poem uh, next week, but let us see if we can listen to a recitation of that one here.
But came the waves and washed it away. Quote I, let baser things devise, to die in dust, but you shall live by fame. My verse, your virtues, rare shall eternize. And in heavens write your glorious name, where when, as death, shall all the world subdue, our love shall live, and later life